Chuck Schumer going to the Congress floor talking about what needs to be changed with Social Security, but it's not what you think.
Finally, on Social Security. Yesterday, a new report showed the strengths of Social Security and Medicare.
Also, 10 changes by the GOP. If we take a look at number 3 here, switch the COLA measure from CPIW to the CPIU. Not often spoken about. Also, a few other interesting changes of those 10 changes. I'll let you know what those 10 changes are, which Republican supports that, actually a very high-ranking one, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Before I dive into the main content, if you appreciate these Social Security updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Social Security updates. So, House Speaker Mike Johnson supports an unorthodox approach to strengthening Social Security with 10 changes. So we're going to go over these 10 Social Security changes. You're going to be a little surprised of them because some of them are actually very unorthodox that we haven't heard before. But before that, let's take a look at what Senator Schumer has to say about Social Security.
Finally, on Social Security. Yesterday, a new report showed the strengths of Social Security and Medicare. A new report showed the strengths of Social Security and Medicare have improved because of the economic upswing we're seeing under President Biden. The New York Times headline said, quote, strong labor markets steadied Social Security and Medicare funds. But yesterday's report came with a warning. Social Security and Medicare still face long-term challenges to solvency. The lives of tens of millions could be thrown into chaos if these programs are not protected. So let's not forget, Mr. President, that year after year, Republicans have made clear where they stand. Instead of working with Democrats to strengthen Social Security and Medicare, they want to put them on the chopping block. A little over a month ago, Donald Trump said on the campaign trail, quote, there is a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting. Around the same time, the Republican Study Committee, which represents 80% of all House Republicans, called for $1.5 trillion in cuts to Social Security and raising the retirement age to 67. Donald Trump didn't hesitate to give tax cuts to the ultra-rich and large corporations. But he thinks, quote, there's a lot you can do, unquote, to, quote, cut programs that millions of American families rely on every single day. That's beyond callous. It's just wrong-headed, hurts people a lot. The difference between Democrats and hard-right Republicans couldn't be more stark. This year, we'll make sure the American people know it. Yield the floor and note the absence of quorum.
So unfortunately, Senator Chuck Schumer, instead of talking about ways to increase Social Security benefits, expand, reform, he's just taking the easy route out and blaming the other side of the aisle for anything that hasn't happened yet for Social Security. Kind of a cop-out that a few people do, which I don't think is productive at all. I think we're kind of over the, blaming the other party type thing. We just want to see action when it comes to Social Security. Let's go over this article right here. This high-ranking Republican supports an off-the-wall solution to tackle Social Security's $22.4 trillion cash shortfall. So we just heard what Senator Schumer had to say about what the Republicans are doing, at least from the Democrat perspective. Let's hear what the Republicans support when it comes to Social Security. Now, this is something we haven't really heard before. House Speaker Mike Johnson, who is the relatively new House Speaker. So House Speaker Johnson supports an unorthodox approach to strengthening Social Security. Despite being relatively tight-lipped about Social Security since becoming House Speaker, Mike Johnson has historically not been shy about supporting proposals designed to reduce the program's long-term outlays. During the 116th Congress, Johnson was the chair of the Republican Study Committee, a conservative caucus group for Republicans for the 2020 fiscal year. The RSC and Mike Johnson released a nearly 200-page budget that aimed to reduce the cost in all facets of government, including Social Security. So here are some of the changes. So the RSC's budget proposed implementing Social Security Reform Act that former Representative Sam Johnson first introduced in 2016. So the 10 Social Security changes Mike Johnson's budget supported are as follows. Now, this is what Mike Johnson supported. We're not sure if he still supports it now because he hasn't, along with most representatives in Congress, hasn't really spoken about Social Security, maybe because it's an election year, but this is what he supported in the past. Number one, gradually increase the retirement age and early retirement age. So the Social Security Reform Act would gradually move the peak full retirement age to initial retired worker claiming age from respective 67 and 62, currently 69 and 64. And then number two, index the full retirement age and early retirement age to longevity. Once the full retirement age and early retirement age reach their respective targets of 69 and 64, they'd be indexed for longevity. In other words, people living longer, the full retirement age and earliest retired worker claiming age would also climb. Switch the COLA measure from CPIW to chained CPIU. I'm going to be honest, I have not heard of the CPU recently. This change. So this is something kind of new. The current measure of Social Security's COLA, the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, is flawed. Johnson's plan replaces the CPIW with the chained CPIU, which accounts for substitution bias. In other words, if the price of goods or services consumers will trade down for a cheaper but similar good service, the chain CPIU would result in lower COLAs over time. Now, we hear from the Democrat Party, instead of the CPIU, they want the CPIE, which would give a higher COLA. Now, the CPIU would result in lower COLAs over time. So interesting how they would want a lower COLA there. And then the number four, update the CPIU to better reflect shelter costs for homeowners. The new chained CPIU formula would be updated to reflect that most retired beneficiaries are homeowners and not renters, which could be very problematic for anyone who is renting a home because it doesn't account for renters, only homeowners. Number five, no COLAs for high earners. No COLA would be provided for single filers and couples filing jointly with respective incomes above $85,000 and $170,000. Remember, these figures are from a few years ago. This effectively a form of means testing for benefits. So what do you think? 85 to 170,000 for single and couples filing? Is that good enough to be excluded from the COLA? Let me know. And then number six, new benefit formula for future retirees. So a new benefit formula would be used for future retirees, providing beefier benefits for lifetime low-earning workers and slower benefit growth for high earners. So this is actually very similar to the Democrats' plan as well. Number seven, introduce new special minimum benefit. People with at least 10 years of qualified work history would qualify for a new minimum benefit. Number eight, get rid of retirement earnings test. So Johnson's Social Security Reform Act would do away with the retirement earnings test, which allows Social Security Administration to partially or fully withhold benefits for early filers who earn too much. This move is designed to encourage early filers to continue working. Number nine, provide partial lump sum benefits to those who wait. Additionally, this proposal would allow those willing to wait to claim their benefit the possibility of taking a partial lump sum payout to go along with a higher monthly check. And number 10, phase out the taxation of benefits. Lastly, Johnson supports phasing out the taxation of Social Security benefits by 2045. There are currently two tiers that allow up to 50 or 85% of benefits to be taxed at the federal level if a single filer or couple have provisional income above the preset thresholds. These provisional income thresholds have never been adjusted for inflation. So those are the 10 changes that Mike Johnson supports for Social Security, part of the Social Security Reform Act. Now, these are a lot different than the, let's say, Social Security 2100 Act, which is more about giving more benefits, expanding benefits, higher payouts. This one is a little bit less about higher benefits, kind of cutting and restricting payouts. So you can see the difference there. It'll probably make the Social Security program last longer, but retirees and recipients won't receive as high of payouts. So very interesting contrast there. Let me know your thoughts on that. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you one thing that you should do. When you want to do something, you have the power to do whatever you want. Unless, one thing, you believe in yourself. That's the only trick. So that's all I wanted to tell you for today. Bye. This is the Bella.
If you want to see the good news that was shared by Martin O'Malley, Commissioner of the SSA, you're not going to want to miss this video over here as he talks about the good news for all recipients of Social Security. So click that video now and I'll see you in that video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.